They did what a good team's supposed to do, and that's just go there and go, no, we are better than them, and we're going to show it, and we're going to come out of the gate strong. They absolutely destroyed the Clippers from the start of this game, Morgan.
Yeah, and they did it while playing such great basketball. It wasn't, I know some people were wondering, man, was everyone just hurt on the Clippers? It didn't matter. It was how the Sacramento Kings were playing and how well that they were just executing things on the offensive end, but then on the defensive end.
That's where it is,
My
Morgan.
God, you guys. My God, those active hands, the verticality. There is just some fun defense going on.
The communication, moving on a string. It's all the buzzwords we hear when teams talk about how they want to have a good defense. Now, all of a sudden, the Kings are playing legitimately good defense. It's not fluky.
No.
Like they are, and it keeps getting better. And that's where I'm looking at, you try to take chunks of a season. You go, all right, are you seeing signs of improvement? Are you seeing any step backs? You may see step backs during a game, but overall, they're showing growth. The Kings were a mess defensively to start the year. To see how much they have grown game by game, and what you're seeing is a team that's starting to trust each other, a team that is absolutely bought in. It doesn't matter if it's Sabonis. It doesn't matter if it's KZ, who goes all those games without playing. Now he's in the rotation again. They are coming to play. Chimeze Metu, who was out of the rotation for a bit.
Let's talk about it.
He's back. It is so incredible to see how this team is coming together, and they are playing some really good basketball. It's not fluky when you win 12 of 17 games. It's not fluky winning the way they are. They are playing some good basketball right now.
And that's it. And going back to exactly what you're saying about Chimeze Metu, because
that's where we're leading tonight.
Oh, I'm leading right there with his defense, because we're leading with defense. So I'm down to talk about some of these individuals and what they did defensively and what stood out defensively. And starting with Chimeze Metu, he's someone who has frustrated me time after time on the defensive end with just some of his breakdowns, just sometimes his understanding of where his body needs to be on the floor, and then losing a guy, angling too much. You got to play them straight up, right? You're playing the best league in the world. The last two games, has shown so many improvements with his fundamental defense. And I don't know if it's watching film or Mike Brown and the coaching staff going play by play, each defensive possession for him. Like, this is where you need to be, so get there. This is how you need to guard that guy, so get there. But whatever he's doing, the effort that's being put in, the way that he's learning how to play defense at just a higher level, it is showing. It is tremendous, especially because he is gifted with his athletic ability, with the way that he can play above the rim. So I just love seeing a player like him starting to get it on the defensive end.
And I think with him making fewer mistakes and rebounding the basketball at a much better level, just kind of playing his game, that's a great sign. I mean, if we're going to go unsung heroes too, kind of guys, because, the obvious stuff we'll get to.
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell defensively has been outrageous. Yeah. And then KZ coming in and making guys work. And I can't say it enough about players staying ready. It is frustrating. All these guys want to play. If you have any level of competitive juices, you believe you should be starting, playing 30 minutes a night. So it is easy when you're not playing to sulk a little bit, maybe get ticked off, maybe not be as engaged.
Yeah.
But
or just even physically not be fully ready to go.
And these guys are. And that's a credit to the players and the coaching staff. I know we've said this so many times recently, but this is why I always talk about, especially with this group, you may not be in the rotation now, but this is an 82-game season. Injuries could happen. Weird changes could happen. You've got to make adjustments. You have to be ready. And Mike Brown has proven, hey, if you stay ready and you come in and you play well, you will earn minutes and you're going to keep playing. And KZ's starting to play ever since that Boston game now.
And I love to see that too, because we said as soon as we started seeing him not start, we understood why, right? But then when you saw him get those DNPs, right? And game after game going, wait, this guy was a starter. What is he doing so wrong? We know what he lacks on the offensive end, but he can still make up with his cutting ability, right? And moving without the ball. So it was a little confusing. And now that he's finding times to get back into the rotation and Mike Brown is trusting him, I love to see it because I think what he adds defensively, especially in those spurts, is just exactly what we've talked about, what we wanted this Sacramento Kings team to have on their roster coming off their bench.
And I thought tonight defensively, we just talked about some key guys coming up off the bench. But today started because the starters were moving on a string. Today started because if the Kings were throwing a double team at Zubats in the post, guys were ready to rotate and make the extra effort to make sure they were contesting a shot. It was Keegan Murray who I thought, we'll get to the scoring in a second. I'm talking about his activity. I'm talking about the deflections, the steals. I don't even look at the final numbers. I'm telling you what I saw to start the game. The guy was incredibly engaged defensively, and I hope this game can kind of trigger some things for him, build some confidence within his game to kind of keep things going, to be the player we saw at the start of this season. But as a group, they were really engaged defensively. And yeah, the Clippers missed some games. I could not believe some of the shots the Clippers missed early at the rim.
Oh my God, in and out at the rim. I mean,
the Kings were also not allowing anything real easy. And that's the thing. They're playing physical. They're playing with an edge. They're rotating and communicating well. It's great to see it, and the numbers back it up. You know, you look at this stretch of games. Now all of a sudden, Sacramento on the season is 22nd in defensive rating. And I know that doesn't sound great to anyone.
Okay.
But for Kings fans who have seen them near the bottom of the NBA every single year, we said before the season, can they be in that 20th? Can you get the 20th? Because you could be in a good spot if you're 20th. This offense is going to be good. They're 22nd right now, but hey, take a step back. You like a little bit of a different sample? How about the last 15 games?
What is that?
17th.
Ooh, you got that this time? It's right?
Yeah.
It's right?
They're 17th in defense rating the last 15 games. You look at the last 10 games, 6th in the NBA. If you want to go a little deeper, last 5, 4th. They're 4th.
You're just getting cute with that now.
But, you know, the last 5 thing, again,
I know.
that's sample size. We get all that. But look at that just last 15 chunk.
Sure.
That's 15 games. That's not a chunk you just ignore. They're 17th. The point is you're seeing the growth. Each chunk, you're seeing some improvement. And it's not just the numbers. It's the effort you're seeing out there.
Well, that's it.
It's the discipline. It's stuff that you talked about today on NBC Sports. On the video they put on the website today. I know you're doing some more stuff on NBCSportsCalifornia.com.
Thank you.
So what Sabonis has been doing defensively with his communication and rotating, the Kings, if they can just be a remotely competitive defensive team, they are going to be a playoff team. It's happening if they can play good defense. Solid defense.
You're looking at that data alone and you're seeing the improvements. But you're exactly right. When you're looking at this team playing defense and the effort that is there with the entire team defense and how well they are playing together. But then, Deuce, we keep talking about this. The growth and the development of individual players as defenders and what they've changed in that side of their game, it's noticeable. We already talked about Chimezie Metu, but going back to Keegan Murray, and we knew what he was capable of those first couple of games. We're like, okay, he can even switch on a guard. He can, he's a long guy. He can protect the rim a little bit, really contest shots. But you're seeing that aggressive nature, that intensity kick in a little bit more with Keegan right now. And I love to see it because I think game by game, he can just keep on becoming a better and better defender.
I maintain that we have seen him the last few games look a lot better when it comes to just his confidence level, his aggressiveness, what he's trying to do defensively. He was still missing shots. Tonight, Keegan Murray finally knocked down some shots.
Hell
and
yeah.
I got to give a lot of credit to Mike Brown because that game was a blowout, right? He ended up having to put the starters back in for a minute or so, whatever, a little stretch in the fourth. But he had Keegan play like 10 and a half minutes in that quarter, and he was able to knock down some shots. Where last game, he kept him in against Indiana. He was missing everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, that was an opportunity there for him to get going. Tonight, he stayed in there and started knocking down shots. He had 14 of his 23 points in the fourth quarter. He finishes with 23 points. He had 7 rebounds on 8 of 15 shooting. He was 3 of 8 from three-point land, 4 or 5 from the line, which is good to see him get to the line. He also had 7 rebounds and 2 steals.
I mean, it's pretty cool seeing that, because I think we already knew what he was capable of. And I think so many people get worried when there are slumps in some of these players' games, especially when they're young and especially when you're in Sacramento. And you've seen it so many times where it's like, ooh, was that just a fluke in the beginning of this season? No, it's not a fluke. He's a good player, high IQ player. You saw even on that one possession in this game I just really quick want to go over was when he was on the defensive end, had the deflection, got his hands in the passing lane, patted it down. Sabonis got it. Boom. They push it back out to the outlet. Keegan Murray's running all the way down the floor for the jam. You know?
Loved it.
Yeah.
And I get the concern too, because it was more than just like 3-game stretch. Like, this was a pretty significant stretch of him missing shots.
Absolutely.
Anyway, De'Aaron Fox tonight, Morgan was just talking about him, 14 points. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a block shot. He was 5 of 12, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 5 from the free throw line. So Fox with 14, he averages 24 a game. This has been a stretch now where, although I'm not going to say he's played poorly, and I don't think he's hurting the team by any means, but you definitely don't see the same type of Fox. He's just not moving the same. And he was asked about it at practice the other day by Sean Cunningham. He really didn't go into much detail. I'm banged up, and he had a bug. So there is a nasty cold going around.
There is.
Flu. It's one of the worst flu seasons we've had in like 5 years. I mean, people are getting really sick right now. And he also just looks maybe banged up. He looks a step slow. I'm not concerned yet, but I'm monitoring the situation. It's been 4 games now, 5 games, where he hasn't totally looked like himself. And for this team to have the success they want to have, they're going to obviously need him to play at a high level. Now, can they get through patches with him struggling? Yes, and that's the great thing about it. And maybe this is it. It's like, all right, this is Fox's rough patch. He's fine through some stuff. He's realizing that, all right, maybe I can back off a little bit, maintain my body, and we can still kind of win games. I can get right. I have people around me who can lift me.
Yeah, I'm not concerned yet, but I also I think this is something that we have seen with De'Aaron over some of these seasons when he does get banged up, that a lot of his game can go downhill because what he relies on is so much of his physical ability, right? His athleticism, his first step, his quickness. And I think he's starting to build a better skill set with his jump shooting and his outside shooting.
Even his defense has been really good, even the last couple of games watching him.
Exactly. Yeah. In every category, different things have made an impact in the game and have gotten better this season, have taken a leap.
He's not on the injury report, which is the good news. He's fighting through it. Let's give some love to the man of the hour.
Who's that?
Domantas Sabonis, who after a little bit of a slow start to the season, this guy has been unbelievable. Today, he feasted. A tough matchup taking on Zubac, who is, to me, an underrated center in this league. Sabonis had 24 points. He had 6 assists. He had 5 rebounds on 10 of 11 shooting. He hit both of his threes. He was 2 of 3 from the line. Oh, and Morgan, he had 2 blocks as well. 15 of those 24 points came in the opening quarter. Morgan, Sabonis came out aggressive in this one. He looked incredible.
15 points and 5 assists in that opening quarter. You know, so not only was he showing, all right, I can finish, I can dominate the paint, but you saw the way that Kevin Huerter and other guys were just moving without the ball, and he was finding ways to split the defense with that little bounce pass. It was beautiful. I talk about a guy that just sees the game so differently at his own speed, at his own pace, where he can really reward his teammate, the open man, with the ball and a much better bucket. He creates so much offensively, but to still also score those 15 points as well, just a fantastic start. He set the tone.
And he had 5 fouls in this game because of 3 horseshit calls.
Ooh.
Morgan, I'm not trying to make it so much about the officials, but man, I've said this multiple times this year. This is not just a Kings related point I'm making here. This is a league-wide problem. NBA officiating has been awful this year. And it's amazing how many times Mike Brown has had to use this challenge because Sabonis gets called for a garbage call. And today, when he got called for that and they reviewed it and the challenge was not the call was not overturned, was unbelievable by Bill Kennedy and his crew today. I thought they were calling it way too tight. They were impacting the game with some of their calls, and good on the Kings to get off to such a nice start, because if they had not, Sabonis would have been on the bench during some critical points of a game.
And just to go into detail on that one call, because on the one that was challenged, and it was the one where Sabonis and Reggie Jackson were both going after the basketball off a long rebound, tipped up, whatever. Sabonis made physical contact because that's what that happens in basketball. It's a physical sport. And they called it a foul when it wasn't. So they're like, okay, we're going to challenge, because that's what Mike Brown does early on in lots of games to save Sabonis. The fact that Bill Kennedy and that crew still could decide that that was a foul in this day and age of basketball, it was just pure ego that got in the way. And how many times have I said it? I have supported officials for so long because I get how hard it is to do this job, but it has truly gotten worse where you get to like make up call, go to the screen, check on it, and be like, you know what? My bad. We were wrong. Instead, no, you just choose your ego over making the right call. Weird.
Yeah, very weird. And I don't understand how you can look at it and not think it's a bad call.
Right.
I don't know what they are looking at in those situations. And it's really disappointing to see. Sabonis in his last 5 games, averaging 17 points, 66% shooting, 44% from 3, 81% from the free throw line, to go along with 9.6 rebounds, 7.2 assists during that stretch, Morgan.
Oh my God.
He's playing at a great level. And like, I know we spent some time talking about his defense after last game against Indiana. His defense is flying under the radar. I think the guy gets a bad rap defensively.
He
and
does.
The more I see it in this system, you can talk about maybe some things that happened when he was with the Pacers, or maybe some of the mistakes that will happen at times with him, depending on the matchup. But as this season goes on, he has been good defensively. He
Absolutely.
is making some good decisions. The Kings defense, I've just been really impressed with. It's grown a lot. And it's not like, oh, this is good for the Kings. Like, no. It's like, no, they're actually playing some pretty solid defense right now over the last 10 games. It looks good.